This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not the everyday, average, run-of-the-mill conservative values. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WPSL. That's why we're presenting you with something just a little bit different, because we don't want you to get bored. It's time, of course, now for the African American Scene, presented by Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie and hosted by Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. You know, let me first start by saying there's been times in the last few years I have absolutely been stunned by how politics has interfered in our day-to-day living. Like my incessant complaining and whining about health insurance and why people are against that. The newest one now is this lack of getting a COVID shot.
Yeah, what's with that? I mean, the media is going nuts because they can't convince everybody to do it. And now they're getting real scary about it. There's a new variant out there.
Well, and listen, and the rate of infection in Florida, we're starting to run to the top of the pack for the rate of infection in Florida, because we have some of the highest unvaccinated rates of any of the states in the country. I don't get it. Why is a vaccination become politics? You had to get a smallpox vaccination when you was a kid.
I remember all those. I remember my polio drink in
right?
first grade.
You had a polio treatment. We had the chicken pox. We had all the... And now all of a sudden, here we are, and we've decided that vaccinations are no good because I guess the Democrats created vaccinations, so therefore we can't have that. Well, that's about, now they say, the way to defeat this is not to criticize, not to challenge, but to encourage. Well, I'm going to encourage, but you are a dumb person if you don't get a vaccine.
And you notice we could have used a number of expletives right there, but we didn't.
Right. I'm not allowed.
No.
But there's some that would perfectly fit.
Oh.
But, really. And I actually have a family member who I have been waging a battle with about the vaccine. And one of his responses is that nature will take care of it. All we got to do is trust nature, get the right herbs and the right minerals, and we'll be cured. And I sent him an article that showed how life expectancy has expanded over the years.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You know why? It wasn't minerals or vitamins.
Science.
Yes. Public health and medicine and science.
Folks, if you don't learn anything else tonight, there's a difference between civics and politics.
Yes.
There's X on the end of both of them, but like one is the civics and science, I meant. Science.
Yes.
And, it's almost disgusting because it's quite ignorant. Well, for instance, people were calling this show only to criticize Rudy and anything he said. It didn't matter what he said. They were here to criticize him to show their prowess in politics, because they think that, like, maybe Rush or Tom Sullivan or one of those big conservative voices would hear them and be impressed with how intensely they listen. And it's like, when you're in science class, and you go into history class, it's two different subjects.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, man, it's like, why can't you see the value of that? But when I sent him the article about life expectancy, and then I sent him an article that there is over 1,700 scientists in the CDC working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on infection diseases and research. I haven't heard back from him since then, because it was really nothing. There was nothing to debate me about, really. Get your daggone vaccine and live longer. Don't die. I don't want you to die. I want you to call up and argue with me. I don't want you to die from COVID.
Well, I had a slight problem. I was arguing with a guy about it until he died from it. And now I can't argue with him. He can't argue with me anymore about it. So we're done arguing.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
But I got a surprise for you.
Okay.
You have a caller.
And Steve, how are you, sir?
Not bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Answer this. The Supreme Court ruled you cannot take your own life.
Yes.
Legally. Now, if you're not getting vaccinated and COVID kills you, isn't that taking your own life?
I would say, Steve.
Anyone who dies from COVID is taking their own life. They'll be penalized. They'll be all their insurance will be canceled immediately because their life insurance will be paid out. But there's no sense in that. Let's see if we can.
I know.
Yeah, solutions.
The other night in a restaurant, a guy who's in the queer man's or somebody is telling me about it's a fake pandemic and everything. And I said, look, you have the right not to wear a mask. You have a right to get the disease, and you have a right to die. But you don't have a right to give it to me.
Right.
There you go.
Yep. You're right. But hey, listen, you know what? It's and if all they got to do is just turn on the TV, they've said 98% now of all the people dying are people that are unvaccinated. So how much?
Sean Hannity.
Yes, that shocked me.
Shocked you.
Yeah, that shocked
I started dyeing my hair gray.
Yes, yeah, really, yeah. Yeah, when Sean Hannity tells you need to get a vaccination, that's well, pretty.
What he also said was, hey, I've been lying to you guys all this time. So now I'm telling you the truth. Go get a vaccine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hey, remember the president was immune, but he got vaccinated after he got out of office.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they got to do something because we can't let 10% of the people control the other 90% because of their stupidity.
No, we can't, Steve. And it's getting bad here in Florida too.
We're number one in the nation.
I didn't know.
We made it first place.
Oh, we're in first place now. I knew we were up there.
Yeah.
I knew we were number one in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finally won something.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. Out of all the cases in America, Florida makes up 20%.
Wow.
So do the math on the other 49 states here. And, uh-oh. And they say it's spreading here faster than anywhere because we got
and spreading among the unvaccinated.
Exactly.
Yes, and DeSantis never really put us under the kind of pressure we should have been under to mask up. You know, when I went to New York, I mean to tell you, it was strict. I mean, when you walked in the hotel, you had to have your mask on. When you went to the ice maker, you better have your mask on. So it was.
Well, we call him Governor D. Stupid. And he's earned that name by his actions. You got to remember, he's a bleach blonde bozo fan. So, you know, the guy that won the Electoral College the election before last. But so you can't expect any more than that kind of thinking out of him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised he hasn't put a ban on, you know, getting vaccines altogether, saying, don't worry, we'll get herd immunity.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well,
If it lasts long enough.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Wow.
Take care.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are basketball junkies the way I used to be. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I did watch the game last night. And that Giannis Antetokounmpo is one bad dude. I'm telling you, that's a tough man. He scored 50 last night. And I mean to tell you, they just couldn't stop him. And I gotta say, I am a huge LeBron fan. But LeBron James and Kevin Durant, y'all better move over, because Giannis is here. And he's vying for the mantle of the best player in the league. And I think he's got a good shot at taking the title. So, but anyway. So listen, let's go on to some of the other things I have lined up for tonight. This is kind of a different spin on what I normally would do, but I have some words that I'd like for us to play with a little bit. And the first one is love. What is love? I want to hear what you have to say about that.
One of the only acceptable four-letter words that are out there mentioned constantly.
That's right. What is love? And if you feel inclined, share with us the first time you fell in love. Second, friendship. How would you define friendship? What kind of friend are you? Friendship. Third word, family. How would you define family? Does family have to be blood? That's family.
That's a serious question
Yeah.
there.
Does a family member have to be a blood relative? Next question. Family versus friendship. Now, this came up because somebody posted it on Facebook and it really caught my attention. And they said that they asked the question, do you take friendship over your family?
In other words, would you rather hang out with family or friends? That would kind of distance you from the family.
Well, I think in some cases people are more inclined to be gracious to friends rather than family. I think that's true. And finally, the word I'm going to give you is bigotry. What does bigotry mean to you? So so we go back to the beginning here. Love. What is love? It's an intense feeling of deep affection. Intense feeling of deep affection. Can you remember the first time you fell in love? I can.
I don't think there's anybody who can't remember that, unless it was a very bad experience.
Yeah. And my mother tried to tell me at the time, she said, "You're not in love. You're not old enough to know what love is." I was all of 17, almost 18.
Oh.
And she said, "Oh, you're not old enough to know what love is." Well, I can tell you this. At age 70, there's no doubt that I was in love at that time.
As you look back, it was.
Oh, absolutely. I was absolutely in love. I mean, I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I saw her and my knees would get to shaking, but overall, and today we're friends, but I remember that quite intensely. That feeling of love, that first love. The number is 340-1590. That's 340-1590. Friendship. What's friendship?
Something everyone should always cherish.
Yes. A relationship between two people. Friendship. What does friendship mean to you? Tell me. And here's the more important thing. What kind of friend are you? And lastly, here's the one I struggled with. I think I finally got it right, but it took me a long time. Can you tell who is a friend? I think most of us at some point struggled with trying to figure out who was your friend and who wasn't your friend.
That's not too hard to figure out.
Well, when I was younger, I was pretty bad at that, tell you the truth. I don't mind admitting it, that I just, sometimes people that I just really thought the world of were backstabbing, two-faced snakes. But, as time went on, I began to learn, as you began to get educated and understand human nature a little bit more, you're better able to tell who is a friend.
Okay.
And here's the other thing about friendship, to tell you the truth. If you have 5 friends, you have a lot of associates, but if you have 5 friends, I think that's a lot.
In your entire life.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I heard something like that at a very young age, that once you get older, if you can count 5 true friends for your whole life, you're very, very fortunate.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that completely. Absolutely.
And we're not talking about the guy that pushes you out of the way for a semi-truck to keep it from running you over. That is a good, friendly act of kindness, but a true friend is there no matter what.
Yes. Now, and I'll tell you why I had to get that right, because if you're my friend, see, here's the way some friends are. If you're doing fine, people are your friend.
Oh, yes.
When you hit a bump in the road, okay,
Uh-huh.
some people will run from you because they don't want to be associated with the fact that you hit a downstroke. Now, I'm the kind of friend, and this is why I had to get this right. If somebody called me on the phone and said, "Rudy, I saw your buddy Rodney down the street laying in the gutter drunk. I'm going to go get him."
Well, one man's gossip is another man's signal to go rescue somebody.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to make pretend like, see, a lot of people going to say, "I'm not going out there so somebody can see me going out there to get somebody out of the gutter." If you my friend, I'm going to get you out of the gutter. I'm going to kick you in your butt as I put you in my car, but I'm not going to leave you laying there in the gutter all messed up. Now, that's, to me, that's the value I place on friends. Most people, truth be told, won't go because they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be seen in that situation that compromising situation with another person. But if you're a friend, it doesn't matter. You go get your friend. So that's, to me, that's true friendship. Is if are you willing to do it? Because when I hit that little bump in the road some years back, some people that I thought were my friends, they disappeared like running rats off a ship.
But win the lottery and you watch them all come back.
Yeah, so you learn these things. That's friendship. Again, I'd like to hear how you define friendship. Again, that number is 340-1590.
I think a friend is somebody being the best that they can be towards another person.
Yeah.
Because, what are friends for? They always joke around about that. But, well, like I just mentioned, if you win the lottery, then everybody wants to be your friend now.
Yeah.
You got to remember the ones who really didn't care for you that much to begin with. You can use that as part of the measurement from then on out, because once things change in the financial realm, everybody wants to be your friend.
And listen, you have to sometime you have to understand some people just don't want to be your friend. And that's just the way it is. And you have to understand and accept that that somebody doesn't want to be your friend.
I can't believe that somebody wouldn't want to be your friend. You're the man to have a friend as a friend. Rudy is one of the best kind of friends you could have. Because he's a big guy too. You happen to need a big guy around. Hey, it's nice to have a big guy like that as a friend.
But now I'll tell you. Now, my wife, who I am just nuts about, she is a tough person to be a friend with, because she doesn't like to be bothered a lot of times. And people take that the wrong way. People take it that she's snubbing them, and she's not snubbing them. My wife just sometimes, listen, I'm in the house with her, and sometimes she wants to be on the other side of the house from me. And early on in our marriage, it used to hurt my feelings, but now I understand that's who she is. When she's in one of the moods where she wants to be left alone and go sit in another room and read a book or watch TV by herself, you let her go.
The older I get, the more I understand things like that, because I catch myself. I talk to my elderly next door neighbor. Elderly, he's only 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
But we talk about the things that we just don't want to mess with anymore. Drama.
Right.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has a sad story. Everybody wants to con you. Everybody, and so we don't put up with any of that. We simply, when strangers come along and we know that they're going to try to con us in some manner, we just keep on sending them on their way, and they go.
Yeah.
As if they don't, then then we find a way to make sure that they go, because we just don't put up with it. We're too old for this.
You don't want to do that anymore. That's right. When you get to be our age, just don't want to do it anymore.
We don't have room for drama.
Yeah.
We've been through all of our dramas, right?
That's right.
We survived them. No more drama.
So here with family. What is family? I'm going to give you the definition that I got off the internet. Then I'm going to expand it because I think it's too limited.
Okay.
It says a group of one or more parents and their children living together. They define that as family. That's a very limiting definition.
That's like two families.
Yeah. But to me, family is your immediate family I just described.
Right.
And then you have your extended family, which is your in-laws, your cousins, etc., that all make up part of your family.
Stepchildren.
Right.
Adoptees.
Yes.
That they become true family, because you're the only family that some of these kids have.
That's right.
Which is wonderful. It's the wonderful gift of a family for a child that's say been in the system, for whatever reason, still. To have a family. Could you imagine not having a family?
I know.
As old and cranky as we get, we're still glad that we have a family.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And so that you answered the next question. Does family mean you have to be blood? And the answer to that is no.
No.
And in fact, my nephew, who's about to retire from the Air Force, I think in the next 3 years, when he married his current wife, well, his only wife, she had a child, and he adopted that child as part of the marriage so that that young man could have his name. And he is as much his son as it is his wife's son. So he's certainly family. Now, here's this thing I picked up on the internet. Family versus friendship. And the question is, do you hold friends in higher esteem than your family? Have you seen that? I think I have.
Oh, we've seen that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
You know, all the friends of mine that I've been acquainted with all these years, the ones who, well, held their friends over their family, they're all divorced now. So there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, your family's your family. Your friends, they've got their own thing. They got their own job to go to every day. They've got their own home to go to every day. And all your friends can't take the place of your family, so you can't throw your family away to have friends. But if you have to, it's easier to reduce the amount of friends if it's overtaken your family. That's a dangerous situation there because, you know, you need a friend to be a friend, not somebody who's going to pull you away from your family and distance you from your family. So be cautious out there.
Yeah. Now, I happen to know, excuse me, more than one person who has completely abandoned their siblings, have nothing to do with them at all. Don't even claim to have any siblings. Ooh. To me, I don't understand how you could do that, but I know people that have done that just do not believe don't claim any siblings at all. Now, I don't know how you get so pissed at your family member that happens. I mean, I can see how with in-laws, sometimes things can get a little touchy with in-laws. But even with that, you try to make, if it's your sister or your brother's wife or whoever, you try to have some peace for the sake of your sibling, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, although you might not be in love with the person, you know, you try to have some peace because you want to have some peace with your sibling. Mm-hmm. But it's sometimes so hard for people to forgive a family member.
Well, you know, siblings have problems with each other that date way back when they were children. Something that they disagreed on then that's festered for decades. And today we see the results of this when we run into folks that have problems with their family like that.
And then sometimes
siblings.
it's inheritance or death in the family that causes separation because one feels like they were not treated fairly or whatever the case may be, you know. But in the end, your family is your family. And you try, while it may not be the perfect situation, you try as best you can to make it reasonable for all parties concerned, even though it might be difficult. But again, that phone number is 340-1590. What do you think about family and friends. Do you have an opinion? Do you think that you treat your family less than your friends? Or do you hold friends in a higher position over your family?
Is it okay for your spouse to be your friend?
Yeah.
That's kind of good, isn't it?
Oh, I'd say so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because basically, like a spouse, that's a partner.
Absolutely.
Like a business partner, only it's a life partner.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think we're hitting on something pretty good here tonight, because when the phones ring, well, that's one thing. When they don't ring, it teaches us that they're listening.
Yes. We got them thinking.
Yeah, that's the whole
Yep,
idea.
we think them. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the last word here. And this one is loaded for sure.
Ooh.
The word is bigotry.
Bigotry.
As opposed to racism, bigotry. Now let me read to you the definition and see if you can apply this to anybody you know. Bigotry. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction in particular against a person or people of a particular group.
But is there a difference between racism and bigotry?
I think so. I think I think racism, in my estimation, is based purely on the fact that someone is of other ethnic group. Purely. This definition is one that applies to people that have a particular set of beliefs that are different than other people may feel. For example, this thing about protests, there are people that have a very strong opinion about the reasonableness of protests. I don't think it makes any sense, especially since our Constitution made provisions that people are allowed to protest. But I think people can have this unreasonable attachment to a belief. Now, here's currently where I think this applies. People believe that anybody that believes that President Biden is not president because of what? Is that a reasonable opinion that he's not president? Or is that an unreasonable, obstinate reason that he's not president? Now, I can't say, and that this is where you get the difference between racist and bigotry. I can't say that that's because they're being bigoted because Biden is a white guy. But that position is stupid. It makes no sense. It's not founded on any fact whatsoever, but people are clinging to that position that Biden is not president based on what? What's that based on?
All wishes don't come true.
Yes, exactly.
Did I hit it on the head?
Yes, you did.
I was being funny like I always try to do once in a while when needed, but wow. That's scary. Oh, my gosh.
So, see, this is how you can become. We had this, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I've brought this up before about, I believe, to the dissatisfaction of some of my friends, that a person can be an unintentional racist. Here's how they can be an unintentional racist. Okay? Like right now with this voting rights thing, there are people that believe firmly that the legislation and the rules that they're putting in effect are justified in trying to make sure elections are not corrupted. There is no information, there is no objective information that shows that elections have been corrupted. So if you are prepared to limit someone's ability to go to the polls or make a vote, you are being bigoted and racist by doing so. Maybe that's but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that maybe that's not your intent, but I want you to think about this, and I posted this on Facebook the other day. And I want you to think about this very carefully when I say it. If you had concerns that the election may have been compromised, then I think you would have to have concerns at all the election sites all over the country. And I would think that you'd want to make changes to voting all over the country. But the focus has been on those areas that are predominantly black and brown. That's where you want to make the changes. So what does that say? How do I read that as an African American in this country? You're trying to compromise my rights to vote. After we fought so hard to have a right to vote. And so you're doing that, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's not your intent to do that, but your unintentional bigotry is causing you to have a disruption of my right to vote. Think about that. I just laid something heavy on you to think about. So I want you to think about it.
It might take a day or two to sink in. And when it does, if it does, well, in the next few minutes, 340-1590, talk to us about it.
Yeah, please. I'd love to hear your opinion, So that is what bigotry is. And I think that we are suffering some bigotry in this country right now. And I think that it is having a profound effect on our ability to come together to solve problems. I really do. And I hopefully we can solve this problem so that we can fix some of those things. And we got Frank. Yes, Frank.
Hello, Rudy. I was thinking about some of the questions that you, the words that you put out, love and family and friendship. I don't know too much about love. I'm divorced 3 times, so I'd like to skip over those. And I really do have actually, my question is for Mr. Greg Wyatt.
He's not here right now, though.
What does boss mean to us, each individually? Now, I have bosses I work for, and, of course, Greg Wyatt is your boss.
No. He's not Rudy's boss. Rudy does not have a boss. Rudy works for himself. He's self-employed.
Okay, he's self-employed. Okay.
But I got a boss.
Okay. Well, maybe I should direct this question to Greg, so maybe you can help me word it. Okay? How does Greg Wyatt feel about Rudy Howard and Cliff Desmond Wednesday night and telling the vast majority of their audience that they're just plain dumb?
Well, no, I may say some of your positions are not logical, or some of your positions may be dumb.
No, tonight you said we're just plain dumb.
About what?
About the vaccine.
Oh, yes, I did say that. Yes,
But I agree with that.
Now, let me give you some information that because you're a smart man. You do know, as the CDC knows, that there's no such thing as an actual vaccine for a virus. Vaccines that prevent illness are for bacteria. They do not work on viruses because viruses are not self-contained entities. They leach and adjust to the DNA of the host. That's what a virus is. That's why every year we have a different strain of the flu. We have different strains of colds. That's why for 35 years, Dr. Fauci hasn't had a clue on solving the HIV virus, which he was appointed by Ronald Reagan in 1986 to undertake, and he eagerly anticipating great progress. I've got a long memory, and that's what he said in 1986. It's 2021, 35 years later, we don't have a stitch of it because there's not just one HIV virus. We've got 35 years of variations, and they know that. And they do it in the CDC. The 2019 numbers for the CDC flu vaccine, which they call a vaccine, it's not, was 46% efficacy, which means 100 people took the flu shot. 46% didn't get the flu. 54% got the flu anyways. It's not a vaccine.
Okay, well, let's go back to what you said in the beginning, because part of what you said is not accurate. Now, let me help you out here. When you have a vaccine, what you do is you create a protein that attaches to the viral cell and stimulates the immunization system so as to prevent that virus from growing or expanding and attaching to further parts of the body and keeps it from growing. That's what the point of a vaccine is. It creates a protein. Now, initially, they used to be able to make the vaccine from the actual virus itself, but the RNA and DNA innovation allowed them to create the vaccine in a different environment, which is why they were able to produce it so quickly. And now let's say this also. I guess you're one of those people that think Dr. Fauci's a liar, correct?
I actually have much more information on Dr. Fauci than I care. We don't have time tonight. Okay? We don't have time tonight. What I do have is the testimony that was offered in Senate yesterday by Senator Rand Paul on the doctor who actually created the virus in the Wuhan lab.
I saw that entire thing. And part of what Dr. Paul said, Rand Paul, was lying. Fauci showed you that he was lying. The paper that he presented as his proof had been not approved by most of the viral scientists that examined it. I saw it, so you can't tell me. I saw the whole thing. Rand Paul did not tell the truth. Now, but here's the more important thing, okay? Here's what I want you to really get, because we saw something that I don't think I'd ever seen before. We had Sean Hannity saying that people should get a vaccine after being opposed to the vaccine. But more important, Frank, here's what I really want to understand. Why would Fauci promote a vaccine that's going to hurt people? Why would we as a country spend multiple millions of dollars on a vaccine that's going to do nothing? Why would we do that? Did you hang up?
He must have
I
hung
guess
up.
he hung up.
Oh, okay. I noticed he wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, I think, but see, there's some logic here. Let's follow logic. We spent multiple millions of dollars for what? So we just wanted to go spend multiple millions of dollars? And the spending of those multiple millions of dollars started with ex-President Trump. He was the one who initially invested the millions and millions of dollars in the vaccine. So what did we do that for? Did we just do that for show? And here's another point that I want you to think about for all of you that are listening. If it's not going to hurt you, and there's no evidence that it would hurt you, why wouldn't you take it? Why would you not take it? And if it says it's got 95% efficacy, that means 5% of the people that take it might still get COVID. But 95% of the people are going to be protected from getting severe disease. So why wouldn't you do it?
Well, the Centers for Disease Control, I've been listening to them because there's the media and the politicians. They're all saying their thing, but basically what we're getting is the people that are getting this variant are people who are unvaccinated.
That's correct.
So if they're unvaccinated because they don't believe that they should do this, because they don't believe it's real, now that would borderline in the dumb zone. I think that would be appropriate because it's only the people that are worried about catching it right now are the ones that are not vaccinated. The folks that are vaccinated, we can't pass it on to anybody.
Right.
And even if we get it, it's not going to be that bad because our immune system has been trained already. If you've already had COVID, for instance, you're not going to catch it again because your body's had it once, and that's just as good as a vaccination.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, yeah, you're right. And we take positions that I don't understand. Like Ron DeSantis wants to prevent the cruise lines from requiring vaccination to get on their ship. Why? Why would you do that? It's their ship. If they want to make sure that their passengers are safe.
They're not even registered in the United States, these ships.
They're not.
They're not under the jurisdiction of the U.S. of A. because they're from somewhere else.
Yes. They do that to avoid paying taxes. You're right. So, but why would you not allow them to do that? Why would you take them to court? Because they want to make sure that passengers that get on their ship have been vaccinated. What in God's name is wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Err on the side of safety. Ever heard that? That the folks out there need to hear that, or they need to at least be aware of it.
My group is having a golf tournament next month at the PGA. And the guys are staying at the Hilton Inn up in the St. Lucie in the reserve. And the criteria that we agreed on was if you're coming to the tournament and you're going to go to the hospitality suite and hang out with the guys, you have to be vaccinated. It's not negotiable. We didn't ask them if you want to be vaccinated.
You go to your doctor's office. They're going to make you wear a mask when you walk in.
They did. I went to my foot doctor the other day, and And I had left my mask in the car, and they said, "Don't worry, we got one for you."
How about that?
And I had to put a mask on right there. So I mean,
But you know, COVID's not the only virus that's out there.
No.
Because you're actually protecting yourself. We should wear masks every time we go to a doctor's office or a hospital anyway.
yes.
Because we're going to walk past somebody who's sick from something.
And listen, they had one of the best flu seasons ever this past
Yeah.
year because everybody was wearing masks.
Yeah, the flu didn't go away.
Yes.
It was preventable by the wearing of masks.
That's right. Yeah. So Frank, if you want to get, if you think I'm going to get in trouble for saying that you people are dumb for not getting a vaccine, be my guest. You can call Greg and tell him that.
Well, Frank's not the first person that ever made the mistake of thinking that. I remember one guy called me up and said, "Who hired Rudy Howard?" I said, "Who hired Rudy Howard?" Rudy Howard was not hired. Rudy Howard, he pays for his show. All of our live and local shows are like that here. So I would say that if you've got something to say and you want to get on the radio like Rudy does and say it, there's some airtime available somewhere. We'll find you some. Just give Greg and Carol a call during the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but anyway, I think that it was a good show. I was hoping I would get some more people to call up to talk about some of the topics like love and friendship and family. But I guess people didn't want to talk about it.
Well, and of course, to criticize the use of the word stupidity just goes to show that it needs to be said, because sometimes the truth hurts. And when the truth hurts, then things can change.
This is very true.
Well, it's been a marvelous show tonight. Oh, this show will be archived on YouTube by probably by tomorrow morning. It's a very easy one to edit for me. And, well, Rudy, it's all yours for the rest of the show. 40 seconds.
I would like to thank you so much for tuning in to the African American scene. God bless and be safe, and I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American scene.
The African American Scene with Rudy Howard, presented by Howard Insurance in Port St. Lucie, every Wednesday evening in the 6 o'clock hour. Like I said, archives are on YouTube. Go to WPSLTV.com, look up the playlist for Rudy Howard's African American Scene, and go binge watch for a while. We've got a couple of years of shows there. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.